Hello and welcome everyone. This is Black Cat Red Blackadder's Place, and I'm here with yet another match in the Age of Mythology game. And this time it's going to be a 2v2 between Killer Boy and Rangers, and against them will stand Titans and Ike. Well, as you can see, Killer Boy and Rangers are both from deities of death, one of the staple clans of the community, and Titans, that's Sensui. Maybe you know him under this name a bit more, and Ike, well, that's Ike from Team SK. As you can also see, quite a lot of aggressive gods in here, triple Loki together with Oranos, and since we are playing on Watering Hole, which is a very high hunt map, we should be seeing some decent game in this. Okay, so let's go. Alright, so unpause, and the first to have a look at right now is Killer Boy at the left top side of the map, and he is right now going for the house right next to his gold, and also going for the hunt to the left, of course, because quite obviously this map is high hunt, and that's what you want to do together with the hunting dogs as well. Otherwise, this map seems to be reasonably okay. The pig is in here, just waiting if he's going to send them for scouting. Doesn't really seem so at this point, and let's have a look at his ally at this point, which is Rangers, or rather who is Rangers, and who is playing the only non-Loki here, Oranos. Also went for the hunt here, and is he going for the mill? Yes, he is. The economic guild is already up, and we will be seeing hunting dogs already researched, I'm gonna guess, on the release. Yep, of course, quite of course. So the three oracles are going in all the three directions, as you can see on the minimap. The one going on the left next to the TC, it's probably going to result in like being cut in about here, the peninsula, and at the bottom he has already discovered very nice herd of zebras, and his piggy is going a bit further, trying to make sure that he knows where the land actually ends here. The third oracle is going a bit more adventurously into the middle of the map. He has already discovered some forward gold in here next, or well, it's actually not very next to the TCs. The TCs are to the side here, which is not really ideal for him, but this one could be a decently defensible position for him, and is probably going to result in some decent battles here. At the top, this seems very close indeed to the other one, and if there isn't any wood, let's check real quick. Oh, it actually is. Yeah, if there wasn't any wood line, it would have been quite decent battlefield right in the middle of them, but since there is the wood line here, it's going to be very nicely protected and kind of hard for Killer Boy to do something about it, and for Titans, aka Sensui, all that easier to actually defend. So let's switch into the opponents here, and that's Titans, for example, point of view, who is already almost finished through his early gazelles, and he has already discovered the extra zebras here, so no problem for him at all, as he's scouting with the piggies here. And otherwise, his map seems to be, what, kind of decent. This forward gold is not really all that much forward, it's pretty decent. Hippo at the back. And back TC seems to be reasonably placed also, and this TC is also, just as we said a bit earlier, it's very nicely placed because it's defended by this corner of the wood. I can't really stress enough how important this actually is for the defense, especially the melee defense. Well, gold very nicely close, but that's usually what happens on here, and here we see the first spy being cast on Rangers, and it seems like that Ike will be wanting to somehow raid him pretty soon, as it's kind of obvious on this map. Quite nice pause here, and oh well, that's very nice aggression. Very decent aggression by Ike. Building temple right next to his opponent. His opponent is not going to be having any kind of line of sight on this, I would kind of guess. Let's switch into Rangers here. Yeah, he doesn't, because he has oracles all around the map, and they are not going to return here, because this is going to go into the darkness, and really, it's somewhere here. And that's very nicely protected, and oh, come on. Is he going to see it? Is he going to see it? Is he going right or left? Oh, okay. If he went left, he would have definitely seen it. But right now, it's going to take him quite some time. I kind of think that this house should be in line of sight once he is at max. But I'm kind of thinking that more than that, he's going to see this Ulsark. And let's see how that will develop for him. Another temple from the Titans team is going to be by Sensui, of course. Let's switch to Sensui, and he's Fog of War for at least a moment, and he's having a line of sight on this elephant, which is going to be denied to his opponent, but more importantly, they are really going very aggressively for it, and they are definitely looking to push on the Rangers here, which is going to result in some pretty interesting game. Let's go back to his base, where we have seen some first relic, which is Big Pegasus Scout. Not bad. That actually can help quite a lot, especially when you are the aggressive one and want to scout as much as you want. As you need, and Ike is the last one to have a look at, and he's already advancing through Heimdall, which is at like 420, not bad. looking around very quickly around his map,
Yeah.
already at the zebras at the back. Otherwise, not much interesting stuff. And Titans should be advancing as well. Yeah, also through Heimdall. Okay, so that's going to be undermine times 2. That's going to be most definitely undermine times 2. And since they are really around rangers here, that's probably which is going to result from all this. Going to switch into rangers if he knows about anything. He should know that there is a building, but I'm not exactly sure if he has noticed. He has already moved with his oracle from actually knowing what is in here. And right now he knows, but it's way too late because they are already advanced, just as rangers. Let's have a look at Killer Boy, who is still not even up through 4 cities, so he's very slow indeed. And since he's building everything inside his base, he will be damn slow to help his ally. So let's switch off the Fog of War at this point to have a proper holistic view of what we are seeing in this game. And well, this is really aiming into some pretty nice battle here, because quite obviously right now they should be realizing that they are on double Heimdall and Oracle is already gone, so Valor is not going to be as effective as Rangers would have wanted. He's already having county barracks together with military barracks, but is that going to be enough? Because the army obviously for Ike together with Titans is just right now getting bigger and bigger. And it will all be hanging in the balance if Killer Boy somehow can help his teammate enough. He's having quite a hard time actually arriving at the battle scene, because as we have said, he has built all these buildings inside his base, so it's not really ideal right now going for the long house, so he should be having pretty decent stream, but yet again, very far away, and right now he's at least trying to house his opponents. So the first battle is taking place in Ranger's base, where they are trying to somehow kill the tower, which is not happening. I'm going to switch into Rangers to see when he's actually going for the towers. Should be researching them at this point, I really don't doubt that. But at this point it really seems like that it won't be enough, because right now it seems like that the Titans is just biding his time and basically buying Ike time to attack. Yeah, it's basically one attack in, second retreat in, and they are biding the army and just making the Rangers run from one point of the battle to the other one, which is basically what is happening at this point. And Titans kinda surprisingly actually took to battle here, but since the spawn of the troll, I think it spawned here, was good enough, it should have been in the battle. It was the correct decision here. And right now that he's joined by Ike, Killer Boy has to be thinking about going inside the base, because it might not be enough to just be killing the buildings here. So when are we going to see the double undermine? Right now Rangers is really getting hammered pretty hard at this point. Spy one really hidden in the manor, but they need to kill the towers as soon as they can, because it's at least one being researched. No, it isn't. I really don't understand why Rangers isn't going for it. He's just massing Turmas through the auto queue instead of going for the towers, because it could have helped him quite a lot with the extra fire, especially those two at the back, which are very hard for his opponents to get to. But well, that's not happening, and he's being heavily raided by literally everybody all around the map, and it seems like that Killer Boy is right now half helping his teammate on the left, but we also see on the minimap a bit of a blue blob in Till's base. But at this point let's just concentrate on this battle, because the double undermine has been cast, and right now it should be all guys attacking the TC. Come on, you shouldn't be attacking here. Onto the TC, and TC is dead. TC is dead, and Rangers is in a pretty terrible position, because he doesn't have any kind of resources whatsoever. He's completely out of gold, and he's losing the abilities here to the Raiden, and yeah, he's just basically out of the game, and it will be up to Killer Boy to do something about it. So he is at least trying to do, and he is raiding the hunt here, which is also pretty good from his point of view, because quite obviously he's going to kill Ike, and yeah, Killer Boy is sending quite enough resources for a TC, I would kinda guess, and this should be resulting in maybe this TC being taken by Rangers. We'll see soon enough, but the battle is still raging on, and Titans is doing all he can to kill any possible army that Rangers might be able to muster. He still is able to produce at least some Murmilos together with Turmas, but Ike together with Titans are basically intent on keeping the base for themselves, and it doesn't seem like that Killer Boy is having enough army here, as Ike together with Titans are very easily able to push him back, and it's basically a result of him being slightly spread out, because he's having a few units on the left, right in the Valkyrie here on the wood line. Yeah, and it seems like that Ike is absolutely not aware of this, because yeah, literally unaware. He doesn't know at all. Right now he noticed. Right now he noticed that he's being raided, but that's already 1, 2, 4 Willies dead already on the food here, and in here that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh well, that's also 4 Willies dead. That's pretty terrible for him. Come on, come on. Orville is dead, and finally the towers are also up for Rangers, and well, Ike was at least trying to secure the TC for himself, but it doesn't really seem to be going all that well. At least Rangers is losing all that many Willies, all that extra Willies here at this point, and he's having just 4 Willies. He's having literally 4 Willies at this point. Mind you, that's all I can admit that he has 1, 2, 3, and the one that was hiding here. That's all that Rangers has at this point. Oh god damn it, he's absolutely dead, he's absolutely dead. So let's see if Killer Boy can somehow salvage this game for himself, because obviously this means this double attack on Rangers that Killer Boy had literally free reign over the map. So he had no problem doing whatever he wanted to do. And let's see if really that's going to be enough. He has already cast a healing spring to help with some extra healing, and he right now is going to result, or rather hope for some lucky spawns, as he's still a Loki, and let's see if that's going to be enough. He's doing pretty good job with the Raiden of Ike, who has been forced to retreat back to his TC, but he's having quite a decent amount of piggies, so not really that much of a problem at this point. But he should be thinking about some extra towers. Let's switch into Ike to defend and have basically a safe base here. Yeah. Exactly, and that's pretty much the end of the raiding, and he should be reasonably safe with everything in there. So that's that, and Killer Boy will have to switch with something else and somehow keep Rangers alive. Rangers is having quite a decent amount of units at this point, even though, yeah, Titans, aka Senzu, is having quite a decent number himself. And that's, yeah, quite enough, together with the army of Ike, to deal enough damage to kill all around. I kinda think both these armies from Killer Boy aren't just twice around. Still, quite some decent raiding from Killer Boy right now, moving on his other opponent. That's a Sensui, and he's already under spy, so that basically results why these two guys actually went here. And it seems like that Sensui is yet again not aware that he's being raided, and he's losing Willies here. So that's second gone, and probably will result in third as well. But how is it looking in the battlefield, in Rangers' base, At this point, it really seems like that Killer Boy and Sensui should be having a proper 1v1, which should result in Ike having just a battle with his very weak opponent at this point. But he was kinda raided in there as well, but I don't really think he should be at such a bad position as his opponent Rangers, because Rangers has lost the TC. He hasn't been producing any Willies for, I don't know, 5 minutes already, or whatnot, so I'm not exactly sure how he hopes to actually get back from this. Yeah, let's see about that. Killer Boy is risking quite a lot, because, quite obviously, if this Valkyrie or whatever just has a look there, he should be having a look there. He should be having the line of sight. Let's switch into that. Yeah, right now, quite obviously. Yeah, he knows that the good Willies are here, so potentially if he can drop enough army in here, he would be able to kill quite a lot of Willies here. Yeah, 8 Willies. It should be a huge blow to Killer Boy, because quite obviously he doesn't have enough other food sources to deal with that kind of drop in production. Right now he's trying to run away. He doesn't have any extra hunt, just those cranes. That's basically the last of it, and he has to be switching into farms already. And as you can see, he's having some idols because he's not having good enough economy, and Titans is having 1200 gold. Well, that's a lot. And Killer Boy also. So that's kind of unfortunate army. And he has built also armory. That's interesting, so maybe he's hoping to advance, but with no food. Yeah, good luck doing that. And Killer Boy is right now losing even the middle of the map, and it seems like that he's being pushed back right inside his base. So that means that Killer Boy right now, all he can do is raid with his opponents, which is right now very effective through the Valkyrie and those two Heresiers, because he basically has made all those 16 Dwarfies from Titans stop gathering gold, which is... It would be very nice if it wasn't for the fact that Titans has 1400 gold. Yeah, so that's not exactly the correct resource that he wants to be raiding, but at any rate, Ike is kinda losing the position as he's not winning against Rangers, who is more or less dead without TC for majority of the game, having literally 2 Willies, 1 and 2 seconds. Oh yeah, he's having 3 Willies at this point. 3 Willies. Well, 4 willies, still 4 willies, sorry, and that's pretty much it, all that he has, and it seems to be still enough. I'm not exactly sure why they are at this point waiting, because they literally need to push the advantage. They can't let Killer Boy to somehow get back into the game and basically win it for dots, as he hasn't been touched on the whole game, and he's right now just aiming to raid his opponents, because quite obviously he's not under any kind of attack. Rangers is dead anyways, so it's not like it matters at this point what happens to him. But if he can kill or somehow disrupt the economy of his opponents enough, this could be pretty decent disruption right now. If he finds this, which he definitely does. But does he notice? Oh well, he did not. God damn it. And he missed a very good raiding spot, which is unfortunate for him, but still he does have the spy on this guy and doesn't want to kill him. You don't want to kill the spy, come on, you want to keep him alive so that he shows you where the next raiding is going to happen, but still, Titans is not being able to gather any kind of gold, and even though he's having quite a lot of it, he's still not making any use. Come on, why are you not actually advancing? But I think I heard the armory, yeah, drop, so it should result in advancing to heroic pretty soon. And let's see what that is going to do. Some kind of relic here, which is better infantry attack versus Titans. Okay, that's probably not going to be all that important in this game, but yeah, let's see about that. And Rangers, oh well, he was trying to recapture TC, which obviously did not work out due to Ike's pretty huge army as compared to Rangers, as Rangers is pretty much, yeah, literally out of the game with those 4 abilities here. And is he going to retreat with enough army, or is he going to lose all of it? Actually, Rangers doesn't have all that few units as I thought at the very start, because he was having 2 wings, the 2 flanks of his army, and right now that they are joining together, they are actually a pretty threatening one. And it will take a bit of micro from Ike to actually make the most of this battle, because quite obviously, yeah, that's it at this point. Oh, wow. Yeah, Killer Boy doing quite well in this game. Right now he has got yet another release from Titans, and these are much more important because Titans is having quite a decent amount of income of gold, but food is much more problematic for him at this point. He has lost quite a lot of release, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 release on the food, which is really bad at this point, and might just be enough to somehow disrupt Titans a game so far. So, Killer Boy, is he advancing into Bragi? He has just clicked in. And just nowhere, Titans is almost into Bragi, of course, having pretty decent echo himself. And Ike is not advancing anywhere. He is still content fighting the classical fight against Rangers. And I'm kinda thinking that that might be exactly what he is going to do for the rest of the game. But right now he's got very badly out of position because he's fighting 1 versus 2. Come on, he should have run from this. Run, 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 run. Ay, 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 ay. Oh wow, Ike's just lost absolutely needlessly the whole of his army to the double from Rangers and Killer Boy, which is pretty bad, and it really must be right now a good time for Titans to attack, because if he doesn't do anything in the attack here, that's basically a free ticket for Rangers to get back inside his base, because yeah, Ike is pretty much out, well, without having any decent echo. That's not what's going to be new in the game. So Killer Boy is having a quite nice game so far. He will be into Bragi pretty soon. He's not going for towers yet, with some few idols here. That's pretty much it. And Titans is not having any kind of luck pushing through here. Yeah, this is going to stay here, and it seems like that Killer Boy will be able to defend this. If he was able to advance, or rather research the towers, it would be even better. So right now we're going for Temple and on the market, and also a second TC. That's very important at this point, because he will be able to defend his allies just by himself. Titans right now, as we are seeing that Rangers is capturing his main DC, because really Ike is kind of out of the picture for this point. At this point, Titans is hoping that he can kill the DC at this point, due to having the flaming weapons, which just might be the case, as he's having an extra piggy here, but he is... Oh... He is retreating because he's hoping that he can kill the DC with this army here, with those 2 Iron Yards, which he's right in. And he just does, which is a slight victory. And if he can maybe stop Rangers, oh well, he could not. He could not, as Killer Boy has been able to finish the second TC, so it's not like it really matters all that much. And really, the timing was very crucial for Killer Boy to go for the second one, as he is still very much in the game. Even though he has lost the main one, which means that all those farms are right now pretty much in threat line and won't really be useful for him for at least a moment here. It really seems that Dots are slowly getting back into the game, especially Rangers. If he can finish this TC, which is right now unopposed because Ike is not doing anything at all, he's just right now massing a slight amount of Raining Cavalry next to his base. It seems like to be pretty much it, and Rangers will be having an extra time to somehow build more than 4 villages. Okay, so that's pretty much it, and Ike is kinda in the position that Rangers was in at this point, because Rangers is having army, Ike not, but Ike still should be having quite a decent economy as compared to his opponent. Titans is having pretty decent army, and I'm kinda wondering why Killer Boy didn't use his own. Oh, he did. He did use his flame weapon. Sorry, I just missed that. Obviously, when he's on the right side, and it's exactly why he was fighting his opponent. And yes, that was the correct decision, because he needed to defend his base, and he needs those farms back, so that his biddies can actually get some extra food, as he doesn't really have enough resources to go for the extra. Farms, and basically just waste the resources in there. Some piggy raiding, which is a very nice idea, and can actually Titan stop this TC from coming up, because if he could, he would also stop the hell, which would be a huge bonus, and he's having 5 piggies. Oh, come on. That should be more than enough, especially without any kind of heroes here. Yeah, this is probably going to be enough. Yep, oh, so goodbye, Killer Boy. No help for you. No help for you. You are down to 0 TCs, and Rangers is still not being able to actually capture his own at the very base, because he's still at like 700 hit points. That's like third of all he needs, and it seems like that Ike right now will be just good enough to go for the raiding, and if he can prevent the TC from being built, that's just going to basically hold him and be enough for him as much yeah, for majority of the game. Right now he's having quite a decent army. I'm not exactly sure why he isn't sending it all to this TC, because he needs to prevent it from coming up at all cost. Literally at all cost. This mustn't come up, because if it does, it just puts Rangers in a better defensive position, and he can somehow maybe survive the onslaught from his opponents. Well, let's see about that. The TC is being attempted yet again from Killer Boy, who is right now with pretty much 0 army. And Titan is not having much army of himself. Just a few piggies, some piggy finds here, all around, and is maybe Titan's going for an H, because at this point I don't really think he has anything else to do, so let's switch into his point of view. No, he isn't, but he isn't having a huge army, or rather, a huge economy himself, so he's been quite easily raided by those 2 Valkyries, which are basically meaning that yeah, Titans can't do anything at all here, and he is very open in the middle as well. That's not defended at all, and could be easily raided by his opponent. Rangers has been able to finish the TC, which is a huge loss for both SK Titans, or SK Ike and Titans, because quite obviously that's like 50 minutes after the Rangers has lost it. He's been able to recapture it, and he's having a pretty decent army, and he can probably get back into the game slowly. Right now he's, yeah, hoping for it, but is it going to be enough? As Ike is trying to recapture the TC, or capture the TC for the first time on the left, which might be holding Rangers in some kind of stranglehold, because I'm not exactly thinking that he will be allowed to take the second in the forefront, but we need to look back at Killer Boy, who has been able to, yeah, capture the second TC that he is lost in here, and he's also thinking about capturing the first one that he really needs because of the farms yet again. Titan's kinda not really following up his strong attack sufficiently enough. He basically had Killer Boy dead altogether, but right now he needs to retreat, as the rating from Killer Boy is really stellar in this game, and he's quite nicely putting Titans in a very awkward situation time and again. And right now it seems like the Dots are the ones in the offensive here. So Rangers doesn't need to worry about defending his base. He can slowly but surely grow his economy yet again with the extra release. Yeah, right now he has finally more than 4 in the activity in here somewhere. And Ike He's advancing into Braggett, so does he have enough army to do something with it? I don't really think so, but he will be probably switching into Mythic. Yeah, he won't. With no gold, he won't. Especially when he's right now being heavily raided by his opponent. Yeah, and Killer Boy, really, I have to stress this out. The huge importance of the raiding that he's doing, because he's basically disallowing or not allowing his opponents to do anything that they wanted on the map, and yeah. He's just containing them as much as he can, and he's doing wonders, because still we are at 22 minutes in the game. The game is not decided at all, and it almost seems like that it's going for dots at this point, even though they were heavily hammered at the very start. Rangers basically being killed altogether, and well, it seems like that Titans, aka Sensui, together with Ike, weren't able to capitalize on that. 30C being built up by Killer Boy, who is feeling it at this point, as he's having pretty decent army at this stage of the game, and once he kills this piggy, I would kinda expect him to go with the second one on the TC as well. Yep, piggy down, and he's probably going to result in attack on the TC, and he will be hoping that he can kill it somehow, and it's almost kind of desperation mode for Titan, who is at this point using even his villies to take down the mythical units, which is a hugely bad idea, obviously, because of a big amount of hit points. And you can see that and hear more like here that all of these guys have already died, and pretty much more are going to die pretty soon. At the same time, Ike is able to amass quite a decent army himself, as he's at 2 TCs, and he will be limiting the Rangers to basically anything he wants. Yeah, as I don't really expect the Rangers to be in the game anytime soon, but Killer Boy is here in the 3 TCs, and if those two guys, Titans together with Ike, can't really use this attack to their advantage properly, they might be in a very tough situation. And towers are at research, which is a huge bonus point for Killer Boy, because if Ike right now casts flaming weapons, which he probably might, this is not going to end all that well, because that's too many extra fires from the towers and the TC, and yeah, that's going to result in some pretty heavy losses. I'm not all that sure that they can recuperate, especially when they are being so heavily raided at the gold yet again, as Titans is having is forced to retreat. Ike as well, but Ike is not aware at all. So yeah, no gold gathering for either of those guys, and flaming weapons are finally cast, but the piggy is dead, and yeah, he got just the IDR, and he definitely needed the pig here. So a pretty huge raiding by Ike using the flaming weapons, but is it really going to be enough? They're just trying to retreat somewhere, but they are just buying the time so that the TC can deal as much damage as it can. Pretty decent battle here, and yeah, really, it's not like Killer Boy is having any kind of army to fight against that. He's in Mythic, no he isn't, so he hasn't been able to go into hell yet. Yeah, so he has just invested everything in his army at this point, and is he having enough? There is some kind of unit, here is Hersier. Baseline of upgrades, as it looking for heal, nothing. Heal nothing, and where is some green? Yeah, this is just a bit of a raiding, and still a raiding continuing by Killer Boy and the Rangers on the villies here, which is very nice indeed. And is there some army from green? No upgrades whatsoever either, and I don't really expect anything else from Rangers, because quite obviously, yeah, where would he get the extra resources for that? But the TC is half health, and since Ike has been able to amass 3 piggies, they should be more than enough to take this down. And when he is having a pretty much clear upper hand with the tower coming down, TC coming down, and killing all the buildings here, it seems like that the Killer Boy might be interested in actually coming and retreating back, because if he won't, he will just lose his base all over again, and he has already lost all those farms here, and he needs to go for some special ideas where to gather his resources. Right now he is trying to somehow go into his opponent, who has lost the TC due to the raiding, quite obviously, of the piggies here. Well, pretty good job. And Titans is tasting his own medicine, as he's at 0 TCs, and well, that's exactly what Rangers was most of the game, but right now he isn't, and he's slowly getting back into the game. And Killer Boy is doing damn good job with his raiding, and those 4 piggies, even though they are under fire of all those towers, they will be taking the TC down without all that much of a problem. So is that maybe a TC where something is happening? No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Ike is at 2 TCs, and right now he's protecting his Willies slightly better, but he's not having any Ox card. Oh, well, he's still not paying enough attention, as Rangers is still doing a pretty good job of trading here, and yeah, really, dots are still clinging into the game quite well indeed, and it's not like they are giving up at all, because why would they have to? Because yeah, it's not like their opponents are really any closer to closing the game than they were like 15 minutes earlier. So TC lost for Ike due to a very nice big raiding, and this right now is going to result. Oh, this is going to hurt. This is going to hurt if Rangers or if Killer Boy is going to stay. He isn't. Maybe he really could have decimated some of these fillies because it could have been quite nice, but well, that's not happening here, and Rangers is right now messing quite a decent amounts of Stinfalian birds, which are going to be a pretty huge unit at this point, because it's not like Norse have a good idea or had a good unit to deal with them. Just throw in Axemen, and it's not like Ike is having enough of those units inside the base. But what he does have enough in an opponent's base, in Killer Boy's base, is those guys that we were talking about, medium throw in Axemen, and they are trying to recapture the TC here to make sure that Killer Boy is not returning back, and it almost seems like that Killer Boy is pretty much dead at this point on the left side at least, but he still does have the front TC, and he might be having enough resources and the Hillfort here to do something extra, and he still does have the piggies here, so maybe he can somehow join up with some of the extra army from his ally or whatnot and kill some extra villies here. Valkyrie dead, but the army from the Rangers is going to finish the job and kind of thing, and still a few extra villies will die from Ike and also Titans. Rangers right now is trying to somehow kill the DC that has been stolen from him. And can he succeed? I kinda think so, because it's not like it's being protected all that much. Killer Boy right now arriving with the piggies, so yeah, that's definitely DC down. That's basically aiming there, yeah. That is, and once that is joined by the army from Rangers, that's going to be more than enough to take it down, and Ike will be at, yeah, just one TC once he finishes this one, but that's still far away, and he might be finishing faster this one, but he has to be careful because he is kinda being raided by a Killer Boy from the back here, and Titans is the one that needs to retreat, or rather retreat, help his ally, and somehow secure the game. So Killer Boy is trying to recapture the TC that has been destroyed by a pretty nice raiding party from Ike, and let's see if that's going to be enough, if he's going to be able to recapture it by himself, because really this is a huge army, and those two mythical units could be enough. But let's see if that really will be enough. Birds are going for some raiding from dots and some extra raiding from the units here, also trying to find some extras, and they will the TC and also the wood line here, quite probably. And is maybe something happening in here? Oh well, yeah. XTC is down and Titans is actually resigning at this point. And well, that's a surprise to me, I have to say, because Ike is right now resigning. Well, he did lose the TC. He also lost the Willies because he was just desperate mode fighting with the Willies, and well, this was one hell of a game. He hasn't really bothered to rebuild the TC, which is, I kind of think, a huge mistake. He had like a ton of resources. What the hell? This was no way, no reason to resign at this point. Why didn't he rebuild the TC? He really needed just this TC and he would be pretty much safe. Oh. This is so confusing at this point, because Killer Boy, it's not like he is alive here. Titans is having pretty decent army, but Killer Boy has been able to finish the DC. Yeah. Okay, so that's probably why they decided to call it a quits, and especially when, yeah, Titans didn't have anything at all, and Killer Boy was trying to steal his DC, which he would have succeeded in. And it really seems like that the reason for the resign wasn't that Ike was at 0 TCs, but because Titans was absolutely out of the game. Let's switch into him. He had just, that was probably all his Willies. He was 17 Willies and he had 0 TCs and yeah, absolutely 0 economy. So that's probably why he resolved to resign, and that was pretty much it. Well, that was a really interesting game. Really interesting game from the very start, and even though it looked for literally majority of it going for the SK and Titans, and it didn't. So let's have a look at the post game here, with Killer Boy winning almost everything, just economy not. That was going for Ike, as he was the least rated. He was rated pretty well by Killer Boy also, but well, he did pretty nicely indeed. through the majority of the game. And since we are we have played half an hour almost, and most villies 44, 12, 40, 58. Okay, that's quite interesting numbers. Quite interesting numbers indeed. Killer Boy, very nice kill ratio, but he was fighting under his TC for quite a long time, killing units through the towers and TCs, and Titans, yeah, largest army, but not really all that effective, obviously. Not really all that effective. Quite late heroics for Rangers, but heck as well. 22 isn't really all that fast, especially when he was having the huge upper hand above his opponents, and otherwise, something interesting here? Not really. 15 INARs, yeah, you would be hoping for maybe the boars, as for Titans and Killer Boy, but not happening here. And let's check some of these curves here, the graphs. Don't really see much interest in just Rangers at the very bottom here. Yeah, at just 25 minutes, 21 minutes, he was just slowly recovering when he captured the DC that he needed. And yeah, you can see Titans just getting heavily raided on the civilians here. And still, Ike might have been the one somehow recuperate, but it doesn't really seem like the Titans was able to do anything by himself. I'm just going to look at normal food. Was having at least some kind of resources here. That was before Heroic Age, but otherwise he was just flooring at everything. Yeah, wood as well. And gold as well. Alright, GG. Well, that was a pretty nice game indeed.